And today we're going beyond the usual tips and tricks, those quick fixes that promise fluency overnight. We're taking a look at something much deeper, something more fundamental. We're talking about reading.
Ah, yes, reading. It's often seen as this, basic skill, something you master in elementary school. But for those learning English, I think it becomes so much more than that. It's like a secret weapon, almost.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to unravel in this deep dive. How can reading be that catalyst, that driving force to make English truly your own? Not just knowing words, but understanding, feeling, and expressing yourself confidently in this language.
It all starts with a sense of familiarity, doesn't it? When you read, you're repeatedly exposed to the language, to those patterns and rhythms. It's like when you hear a song for the first time. Maybe it sounds unfamiliar, but then you listen again, and suddenly it starts to feel comfortable, even enjoyable.
Right, it's that aha moment. And in reading, it's like your brain is building a library of these aha moments where words and phrases start to click. And with that comes a surge of confidence, that feeling of, hey, I can actually do this.
It's a beautiful cycle because the more confident you feel, the more you want to read, and the more you read, the more your skills blossom. It's not just about recognizing words on a page, it's about their sounds, their nuances, how they fit together in sentences.
It reminds me of that feeling of seeing a familiar face in a crowd. At first, you might just get a glimpse, but the more you see that person, the quicker you recognize them, almost instantly. And that's what happens with words when you read. They become like familiar faces, easily recognizable friends.
Absolutely. And the beautiful thing is, as you read, you're not just passively absorbing words. You're actively engaging your brain, strengthening your ability to focus, to process information, to think critically in English.
Yeah, it's like a mental workout, but instead of lifting weights, you're lifting ideas and concepts. And the more you do it, the stronger your mental muscles become.
Precisely. It's like any form of training. The more you challenge yourself, the more resilient and adaptable you become. You start to navigate complex ideas, intricate arguments, and you realize, hey, I can handle this.
You know what I find fascinating? That shift from constantly translating in your head to actually thinking in English.
Oh, that's such a crucial leap. I see it all the time with learners. That initial instinct to go from, say, your native language to English, word by word, it's exhausting and it really slows down your progress.
It's like trying to run a race while wearing heavy boots. You can do it, but it's much harder, much clunkier. But reading, somehow, it helps you shed those boots and start running freely.
It's a gradual process, but that's what makes it so powerful. You're not just memorizing rules, you're seeing them in action, in real sentences, in engaging stories. It becomes a much more intuitive, organic way of understanding the language.
And this understanding, this comprehension, it goes beyond just knowing what the words mean. It's about truly grasping the message, the ideas, the emotions being conveyed. And that's so essential, not just for learning a language, but for connecting with people, for engaging with the world around us.
Exactly. Think about a beautiful painting. You can admire the individual colors, the brushstrokes, but it's the overall composition, the emotion it evokes that truly captivates you. Reading is similar. It's about understanding the big picture, the heart of the message.
It's like those moments when you're reading a really good book and you feel like you're right there with the characters, experiencing their joys and sorrows. It's that level of immersion that really solidifies your understanding of the language.
Right. You're not just reading about an experience, you're living it through the power of words. And that emotional connection, that deep understanding, it becomes a powerful tool in your language learning journey.
So we've talked about this deeper understanding that reading cultivates. But how does that actually translate to becoming a more confident, fluent speaker of English?
Think of it this way. When you read, you're exposed to correct grammar in its natural habitat, not just as isolated rules in a textbook. You start to intuitively feel what sounds right, what flows naturally.
So it's like developing an ear for music. The more you listen, the more you instinctively recognize the harmonies, the rhythm, the way melodies are constructed.
Precisely. And it's the same with grammar. You're internalizing those patterns, those structures, without even realizing it. And then when you speak, it's like those patterns naturally flow out, making your speech smoother, more fluent.
What about vocabulary? It feels like reading is a gold mine for expanding your word bank.
Absolutely. It's not just about learning new words. It's about seeing them in action, understanding their nuances, their different shades of meaning. You encounter a word in one context, then another, and gradually it becomes part of your active vocabulary.
It's like adding spices to your cooking. You might have a jar of turmeric, but until you use it in various dishes, you don't fully appreciate its flavor profile, how it enhances different ingredients.
That's such a great analogy. And with vocabulary, it's about building that confidence to not just recognize a word, but to actually use it in your own speech and writing.
Speaking of which, what about pronunciation? Can reading help us overcome those tricky sounds and accents?
Oh, definitely. Especially if you make a habit of reading aloud or listening to audiobooks, it's about training your mouth to make those sounds, to mimic the rhythm and intonation of native speakers.
It's like learning a new dance move. You watch how it's done, then you practice it yourself, and gradually it becomes more fluid, more natural.
Exactly. And with pronunciation, it's about that constant practice, that repetition that helps you refine your accent and speak more clearly.
And fluency, that holy grail of language learning. How does reading contribute to that ultimate goal?
Well, fluency is all about effortless communication, isn't it? And reading exposes you to the natural flow of the language, the way words and phrases are connected, the pauses, the intonation.
It's like listening to a river. At first, you might just hear the rushing water. But as you listen more closely, you start to discern the different currents, the eddies, the subtle rhythms.
And just as that river flows naturally, so does fluent speech. And reading helps you tap into that natural flow, making your own speech smoother, more effortless, more confident.
It's like building a bridge between understanding the language and actually using it. Reading lays the foundation, and then speaking becomes that journey across the bridge, a more confident and enjoyable one.
I love that image. And remember, it's not a race. Fluency is a journey, a process of gradual improvement. Every book you read, every article you understand, every word you learn, it's all part of that journey.
You know, we often talk about language learning being this solitary endeavor, but I feel like reading actually connects us to a wider world, to different cultures, to shared human experiences.
It's a passport to countless worlds, isn't it? When you read, you're stepping into the shoes of others, experiencing their lives, their cultures, their perspectives, and it broadens your understanding not just of the English language, but of the world itself.
And I imagine it also helps us decode those cultural nuances that are often unspoken, those unwritten rules that govern how people interact.
Absolutely. You start to notice how people greet each other, how they express their opinions, how humor is used. It's like learning a secret language, one that goes beyond words and grammar.
It's like reading between the lines, understanding those subtle cues that can make or break a conversation in a different culture.
Exactly. And that cultural sensitivity is so important, not just for avoiding misunderstandings, but for building genuine connections with people from different backgrounds.
So we've explored how reading helps us think in English, understand its grammar and vocabulary, and even navigate cultural nuances. But what about the impact it has on our brains, on our cognitive abilities?
Oh, it's a cognitive powerhouse. Reading strengthens your memory, improves your focus, and enhances your ability to process complex information.
It's like a mental gym for your brain, but instead of getting sweaty, you're getting smarter.
Exactly. Every time you read, you're working out those mental muscles, making them stronger, more agile, and the benefits spill over into all areas of your life, not just language learning.
You mentioned something earlier about neuroplasticity, which sounds incredibly complex. Can you break that down for us?
It's actually quite simple. Neuroplasticity refers to the brain's ability to change and adapt throughout our lives. And reading is one of the best ways to stimulate this process, to create new neural pathways, to essentially rewire your brain for learning.
So it's not just about filling our brains with information, it's about physically changing the structure of our brains, making them more receptive to learning new things, including English.
Precisely, and that's what makes reading so powerful. It's not just a passive activity, it's an active process that shapes and strengthens your brain, making you a more capable learner in all areas of life.
And it's not all just hard work and mental gymnastics, is it? There's a real emotional and even therapeutic benefit to reading.
Absolutely. Reading can be a powerful stress reliever. When you lose yourself in a good book, your worries fade away, your heart rate slows down, and you feel a sense of calm and peace.
It's like a mental vacation, but instead of packing your bags, you're opening a book and transporting yourself to another world.
Exactly. And those worlds can offer comfort, escape, even inspiration. And that emotional connection to what you're reading can be incredibly powerful for your overall well-being.
We often hear about the importance of mindfulness these days, and it seems like reading can actually be a mindful practice in itself.
It certainly can. When you're truly engaged in reading, you're focused on the present moment, on the words on the page, on the story unfolding. Your mind is quiet, your thoughts are still, and you're fully present in the experience.
It's like meditation, but instead of focusing on your breath, You're focusing on the flow of words and ideas.
Exactly. And that focused attention, that ability to quiet the mental chatter, it's so valuable in our increasingly distracted world. And reading can be a wonderful pathway to cultivating that mindfulness.
Now, beyond the cognitive and emotional benefits, it seems like reading also sparks our imagination, our creativity, even our ability to tell our own stories.
It's a wellspring of inspiration, isn't it? When you read, you're exposed to different worlds, different characters, different ways of thinking. It stretches your imagination, opens up new possibilities, and helps you see the world in new and creative ways.
It's like planting seeds in your mind. The more you read, the more those seeds germinate and blossom into new ideas, new perspectives, new ways of expressing yourself.
And for those who aspire to be writers, to tell their own stories, reading is an essential apprenticeship. You learn from the masters, you absorb their techniques, you develop your own voice through that immersion in the written word.
It's like learning to paint by studying the great masters. You learn from their brushstrokes, their composition, their use of color, and gradually you develop your own unique style, your own artistic voice.
Exactly. And with reading, it's about absorbing the language, the structure, the rhythm of storytelling. And then when you write, those elements naturally flow out, infused with your own unique voice and perspective.
Now, let's shift our focus to something very practical. Communication. How does reading make us better communicators, both in spoken and written English?
It's all about expanding your linguistic toolkit. When you read, you encounter a variety of sentence structures, vocabulary, different styles of writing, and that exposure makes your own communication richer, more nuanced, more effective.
It's like having a larger palette of colors to paint with. You can create more vibrant, more expressive, more impactful works of art.
Exactly. And with language, it's about having more tools at your disposal to express yourself clearly, to convey your ideas persuasively, to connect with your audience on a deeper level.
So it's not just about knowing more words. It's about understanding how to use them effectively to create a flow, a rhythm, a clarity in your communication.
Precisely. Reading helps you develop that sense of flow, that natural cadence of the English language. And when you speak or write, it's like those patterns, those rhythms naturally emerge, making your communication smoother, more engaging.
And the more you read, the more you become attuned to those subtle nuances of language, those little things that make a big difference in how your message is received.
Absolutely. You start to notice the power of word choice, the impact of sentence structure, the way different styles of writing can evoke different emotions. And that awareness makes you a more conscious, more effective communicator.
So it's like fine-tuning your instrument, learning to play it with greater precision, greater expressiveness, greater impact.
Exactly. And that mastery of language, it opens doors, it builds confidence, it empowers you to connect with the world in meaningful ways.
Now, for those listening who are feeling inspired to make reading a bigger part of their English learning journey, what are some practical tips to get started and, more importantly, to keep going?
The first and most crucial tip is to choose materials that genuinely interest you. If you're not enjoying what you're reading, you're unlikely to stick with it.
It's like choosing a workout routine. If you hate running, don't force yourself to do it. Find something you enjoy, something that motivates you to keep coming back for more.
Exactly. And with reading, it's about exploring different genres, different authors, until you find something that sparks your curiosity, something that makes you want to keep turning the pages.
And it's important to start at a level that's comfortable, isn't it? Don't jump into Shakespeare if you're just starting out.
Absolutely. Start with something that challenges you slightly, but not so much that it becomes frustrating. As your skills improve, you can gradually increase the difficulty.
So it's a step-by-step process, like climbing a mountain. You wouldn't try to reach the summit in one go. You take it one step at a time, enjoying the journey along the way.
Exactly. And with reading, it's about celebrating those small victories, those moments when you understand a new word, a complex sentence, a whole paragraph.
And consistency is key, isn't it? It's better to read for a short time every day than to have these sporadic marathon reading sessions.
Absolutely. Even 10-15 minutes a day can make a huge difference. The key is to make it a habit, something you do regularly, like brushing your teeth or having your morning coffee.
And what about those moments when we encounter unfamiliar words? Should we stop and look up every single one?
Resist that temptation. Try to guess the meaning from the context. Often, the surrounding words and sentences will give you enough clues to understand the gist of it. And sometimes it's okay to just keep reading and let the meaning unfold naturally.
But it's still important to actively expand our vocabulary, isn't it?
Definitely. Keep a notebook or use flashcards to jot down new words and their definitions. Reviewing them regularly will help solidify them in your memory.
In reading aloud, that old school technique, does it still hold any value?
It's incredibly valuable. Reading aloud helps with pronunciation, intonation, and overall fluency. It's like a rehearsal for speaking, a way to train your mouth and your brain to work together seamlessly.
And for those longer, more daunting texts, any tips on how to tackle those without feeling overwhelmed?
Break them down into smaller chunks. Focus on understanding one paragraph, one page, one chapter at a time. Take breaks, go for a walk, come back refreshed. And remember, it's not a race. Enjoy the process.
It's like eating a large meal. You wouldn't try to swallow it all in one go. You'd savor each bite, take your time, and enjoy the experience.
Exactly. And with reading, it's about taking it one step at a time, appreciating the journey, and celebrating your progress along the way.
And don't limit yourself to just books, right? The world of reading is vast and diverse.
Absolutely. Explore different formats, magazines, blogs, online articles, even comics and graphic novels. The more you diversify your reading material, the more you'll expand your vocabulary, your understanding of different writing styles, and your overall knowledge of the world.
And for those who are also trying to improve their listening comprehension skills, combining reading with audiobooks or subtitled videos can be incredibly powerful.
It's like a double whammy. You're getting input from both your eyes and your ears, reinforcing your understanding of the language and helping you make those crucial connections between written and spoken English.
So we have all these wonderful tips and techniques, but the biggest challenge for many people is actually building that consistent reading habit. Any advice on how to make it stick?
Start small. Set realistic goals. Don't try to read for an hour every day if you've never done it before. Start with 10-15 minutes, then gradually increase as you feel more comfortable.
It's like building any new habit. You wouldn't start training for a marathon by running 20 miles on your first day. You'd start slowly, gradually increasing your distance and intensity.
Exactly. And with reading, it's about finding a rhythm that works for you, a sustainable pace that you can maintain over the long term.
And create a conducive environment, right? Find a quiet space, a comfortable chair, good lighting. Make it an enjoyable experience.
Absolutely. And make it a ritual. Maybe you read for a few minutes before bed or on your commute or during your lunch break. The key is to find a time and place that works for you and to stick with it.
And don't be afraid to experiment. Try different formats, different genres, different authors. You might be surprised at what you discover and what sparks your passion.
Reading should be a joy, not a chore. It's about exploring, discovering, expanding your horizons. And sometimes it's about stumbling upon a book or an article that truly resonates with you, that changes your perspective, that makes you see the world in a new light.
It's like going on an adventure, isn't it? You might have a map, a plan, but the real joy is in the unexpected discoveries, the serendipitous encounters, the moments that take your breath away.
Exactly. And with reading, it's about embracing that journey, allowing yourself to be surprised, to be challenged, to be transformed by the power of words.
So to everyone listening, remember, reading is more than just a skill, more than just a way to learn English. It's a key that unlocks a world of possibilities, a pathway to fluency, to understanding, to personal growth, to a deeper connection with yourself and the world around you. So pick up a book, open a magazine, start reading, and embark on that incredible journey today.
And remember, be patient with yourself, enjoy the process, and celebrate those small victories along the way, because every word you read, every sentence you understand, every story you connect with, it's all bringing you closer to that beautiful goal of fluency, of making English truly your own. Happy reading, everyone.
That's it for our deep dive today. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep the magic of reading alive in your lives.